UFC Fight Night, Evloev versus Murphy goes down on Saturday, and I'm going to give my predictions for the card. So we got Shamrock versus Abdul Karim Al Selwadi. I'm picking Shamrock to win this fight. I know he lost his UFC debut, but I think he's got a more winnable matchup in this one. Because Abdul Selwadi, he does most of his work in the grappling, and I think Shamrock is the better grappler entering this matchup. He's got a height and reach advantage in a big one, too. Abdul Selwadi, he doesn't really have a whole lot of threat on the feet. And considering the fact that he has been relatively inactive, he's had many canceled fights for whatever reason. The last time he ever actually fought was like almost 2 years ago. I think Shamrock has a winnable matchup with this one. I don't think he has a lot of things to worry about on the feet. And I think this fight will mostly be spent in the grappling exchanges, where I think Shamrock will hold the advantage. So I'm picking Shamrock to win this one by decision. Next up in the heavyweight division, we have a tale between two nobodies, Louis Sutherland and Brando Pericic. If you know Louis Sutherland, then you remember him getting heel hooked by Walter Walker in his last fight. If you know Brando Pericic, well, then you're just lying to yourself because you don't. But after studying some tape from both of these fighters, I can say with relative confidence that I think Brando Pericic is going to win this fight by first round TKO. I think he's better wherever the fight is. I think he's the slightly better fighter on the feet, and I think he has a big advantage if this fight hits the mat. And I just don't really see anything impressive from either of them, but from what I've studied from both of them, Brando Pericic, he's got a big advantage if this fight is to hit the mat, which it probably will because Louis Sutherland has terrible takedown defense. So give me Brando Pericic to win by a first-round TKO via ground and pound. Moving up the card, Montaz contra Tavicius taking on Antonio Tricoli. This isn't a really hard one for me to pick. Montaz contra Tavicius, I'm going with him by first-round KO. Antonio Tricoli, all he really can do is grapple, and he hasn't even won a fight in the UFC. He hasn't gotten a submission or anything. And Montaz, he's very powerful on the feet, and he has solid takedown defense. Like, honestly, I think I have a better chance at winning the lottery than ever seeing Antonio Tricoli win a fight in the UFC. Plus, he's 35 years old. He doesn't hold much of a big height or reach advantage in this fight. Yeah, just give me Montaz by first round KO, and I expect it to be quick and easy. Up the card in the heavyweight division, Mario Pinto versus Felipe Franco. I'm picking Mario Pinto to win this one. Mario Pinto is honestly one of the more strong prospects in the heavyweight division. Felipe Franco, from what I've seen, is 10 wins. I'm pretty sure they're all first-round finishes. And the one time we've seen him go past the first round, he lost and got submitted in the third round. And Mario Pinto, he is actually a very solid grappler, and he's very powerful on the feet. And plus, Felipe Franco, I think he's moving up from the light heavyweight division here to the heavyweight division. He's going to be at a size and more than likely strength disadvantage entering this fight. I just think Mario Pinto, he's going to outlast him, and I think he's going to find a second or third round finish on the ground, probably like ground and pound TKO. Give me Mario Pinto to win this fight via second or third round TKO via ground and pound. Next up, we have Nathaniel Wood versus Lucine Queda. Very interesting matchup. One of the ones I'm most looking forward to on this card. But I'm actually picking Nathaniel Wood to win this one. From what I've seen, Lucine Queda, he is pretty powerful, but he doesn't really have much of anything to offer in the grappling department. And he does really just swing wildly. He doesn't have very good defense on the feet. He leaves himself wide open to be countered. And Nathaniel Wood, even though he has won a bunch of decisions, he actually does pack a pretty powerful punch. I think he's dropped all of his last 3 opponents. Even though I think he probably should have lost the decision against Jose Delgado. that's not swaying my opinion on who he is as a fighter. He's got very solid boxing. He's decently powerful, and he can wrestle and pull out the grappling if needed to when things are looking rocky on the feet, or if he just wants to. I think Nathaniel Wood's UFC experience and overall, I just think he's a more skilled fighter. I mean, he does get dropped every now and then, and Lucien Keita is a pretty powerful puncher. I could see like a situation early in the fight where maybe Keita drops him with something, but Nathaniel Wood, I think he will find a groove relatively quickly in this fight, and I think he will start to put together things and show his UFC experience on display. I think Nathaniel Wood's probably going to pull this one off by a decision. I think he's the more overall skilled fighter. I think he has a clear advantage in the grappling and wrestling, and I think on the feet he has a good ability to. I think he will be able to counter the wild attacks of Lucien Keita well and find success on the feet. I'm picking Nathaniel Wood to probably win a unanimous decision, 29-28. Next up, in the lightweight division, Mason Jones taking on Axel Sola. Interesting matchup here. I'm picking Mason Jones to get it done, probably by a decision. I think most of Axel Sola's game, from what I've seen, relies on the grappling. He only ever really started using his striking in his last fight with Reese McKee, which was a bit of a hard-fought fight. I mean, he clearly was winning, and he did get the finish, but it wasn't an easy fight for him, the point is. And Mason Jones, I mean, I can't lie, I think he is slightly better than him wherever the fight goes. I think he has a more effective style on the feet than Axel Sola, and I think he is the better grappler entering this matchup. I can see Axel Sola, if he uses his reach and big height advantage, I could see him finding success in this fight, but Mason Jones, he always finds a way to make it a brawl. He's an inside fighter. I think he's the slightly better overall fighter, more well-rounded. Like, he's the better grappler, and I also think that he's the slightly better striker. But I can see Axel Sola finding his success in the striking exchanges, but I think in the grappling department, Mason Jones will be the better fighter there. And I think Mason Jones, I think he's just going to output Axel Sola in this fight with volume, striking, and takedowns, and I think he will win himself a decision in this one. So give me Mason Jones to win a decision. Moving up in the featherweight division, we have Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva. This is one I've been going back and forth on all week, but I've settled on picking Curtis Campbell to win this fight. While Danny Silva has more UFC experience by just a little bit, I think Curtis Campbell holds a very big advantage in the grappling. Curtis Campbell is actually a very solid grappler. I think that's his clear path to victory. He doesn't really have much to offer on the feet. He's not a bad striker, but nothing stands out with him on the feet. And Danny Silva, he is a pretty solid striker. That is his clear path to victory. Danny Silva's only path to victory is to defend the takedowns and keep it on the feet where he holds an advantage, but I just don't think he will. I think Curtis Campbell is going to win this fight on the scorecards by decision, by utilizing his grappling. I can see a situation where it's like a 29-28 where Curtis Campbell wins the first two rounds, but Danny Silva picks things up later on. I can see Curtis Campbell maybe getting tired in this fight late, and by the third round, Danny Silva, he starts stuffing the takedowns a little bit easier, and he gets things going on the feet, but by then it's too little too late. I think Curtis Campbell is going to win this fight with his grappling advantage. So give me Curtis Campbell to win by decision, 29-28 decision. Next up, in the middleweight division, we have Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. I am picking Christian Leroy Duncan to win by a mid-round TKO. Roman Dolidze, outside of a little bit of power in his hands, he's got nothing on the feet. Terrible defense, very slow on the feet. His only path to victory is to get this fight to the ground. He actually has very good jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't have the wrestling to back it up. And Christian Leroy Duncan, while it turns out he doesn't have as big of a height and reach advantage as I thought he would entering this fight, I still think he has a clear advantage in the striking, a big one too. He's got very creative striking game, and his takedown defense, while it's not that great, it is just okay. But it's not going to matter that much because Roman Dolidze doesn't really have a high-level wrestling game. So give me Christian Leroy Duncan to win via mid-round. I'm picking Christian Leroy Duncan by a second-round finish. Maybe he lands like something crafty out of his striking tool bag, like a spinning elbow or something. I think he's going to get it done in the second round. Plus, Roman Dolidze, he's pushing 40 years old. He's like 37. I think he turns 38 this year. Yeah, give me Christian Leroy Duncan to win via second round TKO. Next up, we have the Fight Cards Coughing Baby versus Hydrogen Bomb matchup. Iwo Baranowski versus Austin Lane. Yeah, this isn't a hard one to pick at all. Iwo Baranowski, first round KO. Austin Lane had a atrocious chin in the heavyweight division. So now him cutting weight to make the light heavyweight division, I only expect his chin to be just as bad as it was, if not a little bit worse. Iwo Baranowski, he's a power puncher on the feet. He's got a decent grappling game from what the stats tell me. Yeah, and plus, whenever fighters are usually switching weight classes, when it's like late in their late age, it's usually never a good sign. Austin Lane, I think he's like 37, 38 years old. He's 38 years old. Yeah, I'm picking Iwo Baranowski by a first-round finish in this one, and I don't expect much competition. I find it pretty wild how Austin Lane is higher up on the card than Mario Pinto, who starched him out cold last year, but it's whatever. Give me Iwo Baranowski to win by a first-round knockout. Next up on the card, we have MVP Michael Venom Page taking on Sam Patterson. Now, while I do not think that this fight should be happening and MVP should be fighting a ranked opponent, I do think that it is a little bit closer than some people are thinking it is. If this fight hits the mat, Sam Patterson, he's got very good jiu-jitsu actually. And if this fight hits the mat, if we enter like a grappling exchange where they're on the ground, I think MVP is about as good as gone. I think Sam Patterson, he'll be able to submit him. I think he's probably the best submission artist MVP will have ever fought in his career. But the thing is, I don't think this fight will hit the mat. I think MVP is gonna win this fight. I think he's gonna outpoint him on the scorecards. But honestly, I could possibly see him getting a KO. Sam Patterson, he is pretty slow on the feet, and he doesn't move his head at all. He has no head movements. He kind of freezes up whenever he gets hit clean. And plus, yes, Sam Patterson, he does have very good jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't really have the wrestling to back it up. And MVP has solid takedown defense. I think MVP, I can see him maybe getting a finish for the first time in his UFC career, but I think it's safer to say he's probably going to win a decision. So give me MVP to win a decision over Sam Patterson. Maybe like 29-28 or maybe 30-27 him. Yeah, give me MVP to win by a decision or a possible TKO. Moving up to the co-main event, we have Luke Riley taking on Michael Aswell. I think Luke Riley is probably going to find the KO in this fight. Michael Aswell, from what I've seen, he doesn't have much grappling. He's kind of a little bit of a brawler on the feet, which I think is perfect for a guy like Luke Riley. Michael Aswell isn't very good defensively. I think he is there to be countered. And Luke Riley, he has very solid boxing, and he is a power puncher. I think Luke Riley is going to find an early KO in this one. Like, where Luke Riley has struggled before was with grappling. Like, he lost the first round to Bogdan Grad because of the grappling, but Michael Aswell, he has no grappling threat entering this fight. So, therefore, I think that, well, this fight will be spent on the feet, which is where I think Luke Riley will find the KO shot. So, give me Luke Riley to win this fight, probably by an early round knockout. And now, moving up to the main event of the evening, Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. I'm picking Evloev to win this one. Now, I do think this is a very solid striker versus grappler matchup, but Evloev, I think he's got a better chance at winning this fight if it stays just standing than Lerone Murphy does if this turns into a grappling match. I saw 40-year-old Josh Emmett, who doesn't wrestle at all in the UFC, throw Lerone Murphy 10 feet into the air and take him down multiple times. I've seen Lerone Murphy get, for the most part, out-grappled by Dan Ige. I've seen him arguably lose to Gabriel Santos because of the grappling. I saw, before the spinning elbow KO, Aaron Pico put hands on him for like 3 minutes straight. And while he is a very solid striker, I don't think he is very heavy with the output enough to really steal the rounds. And plus, Evloev is actually a very underrated striker too. He's got a pretty good striking game on the feet. And he's got a very, very big advantage in the grappling and the wrestling. And plus, I think he has fought better comp. You know, he's got wins over guys like Diego Lopez, even though it was a short-notice debut. He's got Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling. But one thing that Lerone Murphy does, even though his wins are over guys like Old Barboza, Ige, Emmett, Aaron Pico, one thing advantage that he does have in this fight over Mavsar is that he has experience in 5-rounded fights. I have confidence in Lerone Murphy's ability to fight a hard fight for 5 rounds straight with heavy output, whereas I don't know exactly for sure if Evloev has that kind of stamina to keep up at a high pace for 5 rounds. Because we've never actually seen him in a 5-rounder before. Only 3-rounders, but I trust him enough to be able to keep up his stamina. I'm sure that's something he's probably trained on in camp. I think Mavsar will be able to keep up a fair pace for this fight, for most of this fight. I think Mavsar, he's going to out-grapple Lerone Murphy, and I think on the feet it will be competitive. But I do think that is Lerone Murphy's advantage. I think he is the better striker, and the success he will find in this fight will be on the feet. But I think Mavsar's grappling advantage is a little too big. So in my official pick, I'm going with Evloev to probably win a 49-46, maybe 48-47 decision over Lerone Murphy.